Welcome to Stereo 3D Productions. Now, I know this is going to make me look like I've been living under a rock for 10 years, but I promise I haven't. Yes, today's video is about a 19-year-old game that got third-party VR support as early as 2013, with even better mods coming out in 2016 and beyond. But hear me out. No, I'm not covering this game because I'm new to it. I'm covering this game because it's one of my favorite, and as far as VR is concerned, it was a casualty of the massive amounts of first-party VR content that began flowing into the market back in 2016 and 2017. Not only did this game get shoved aside by the hordes of VR content that began falling from the sky when VR got revved up at the end of the last decade, but this time I actually did miss the boat. Did you know that this game runs perfectly not only on low-spec VR PCs, but also on the Quest, standalone, with no other systems required? Yeah, I finally took the time to check it out a few weeks ago, and man, let me tell you, this is one of these rare times where the Quest 2's standalone capabilities impress me. Yeah, there's games on there, yeah, the Quest can do cute things on its own. Yes, I know there's fairly good games published by Oculus themselves, but I'm honestly rarely interested in bothering when I can get better games or the equivalent game running with better visuals. What made me bite this time is, hey, besides the 5 minutes it took me to set this up, this title is free as long as you own the PC version of the game. I knew I had missed out on some of the more recent mods that helped Doom 3 run in VR, and I always wanted to revisit that situation. Now that I've gotten to it, I gave the Quest 2 mod a couple of tries, and well, here we are. I really need to update you all on this game because this is awesome. You'll notice that I decided to straight up publish this on my main channel. Yeah, I don't care if this game is 19 years old, it's one of my favorite, it's one of the very first things I ever saw in a VR headset, and it's definitely worth your time if you never saw this psychotic, terrorizing piece of software in VR. In mid-2016, I actually started a Let's Play series of Doom 3 BFG, but that setup was absolute garbage. Not only did I have to revert my Oculus runtimes to a pre-commercial release version just to be able to capture video, but motion controls and full VR options were not even on the radar. Since then, 2 PC mods have popped up, both compatible with Doom 3 BFG, and the overall situation has been infinitely improved. It seems that indeed, Doom 3 BFG is now a PC VR game, and the original Doom 3 is now a portable VR game. We've gone leaps and bounds, and after seeing all this, I just couldn't pass up on making a video. My first reflex when trying out the Doom 3 Quest mod was to make a video showcasing it, but that comes with a catch. See, while this mod actually runs Doom 3 on the Quest perfectly, all without a PC, the options I have to capture that gameplay and show it to you all are very limited. In fact, the resulting video is almost always complete garbage, except for one new method I've just discovered that's a lot more potable. Allow me to expand on this for a second. Listen up, fellow content creators. So the first option I tried is the built-in Quest recording feature. Basically, with this, the headset records its own gameplay without a PC. But boy, is it absolute complete trash. In this clip, I had it set to 1080p 12 megabits 60 frames, and it was not only incapable of keeping up at 20-ish frames per second, but in addition to the erratic frame rate, it results in equally erratic audio sync. This feature is really the minimum viable recording tool, and I really wouldn't advise using this for shooting publicly released content. Now, my second option was Sidequest, and while the cast feature in that app is vastly superior, it's using an older version of an open source called ScrCpy, ScrCpy, that happens to stream only the image but not your game audio. And it does so with a very irregular frame rate. Well, go figure. I did a little bit of digging and I found out that ScrCpy itself has had a major update that's not included in the Sidequest distribution yet. ScrCpy 2.1 can now stream the image and the audio at a much steadier frame rate. So now I don't have to torture myself trying to find means of getting my audio into the PC separately from the image capture. This thing will run as if the standalone game were running on my desktop as far as OBS knows. So in the end, I'm very impressed at this method. It's the best standalone captures I've been able to do to this day, and likely the easiest to operate as well. Now, ironically, in this video, you'll see me play wireless on the PC and wired while playing standalone. This is only because the downside of this capture method is it works infinitely better over the USB cable than it does over Wi-Fi. I'll experiment with that in the future, but for today I just went with what worked and looked best. For the PC, I'm fully wireless over Oculus AirLink, which is really easy to capture directly off said PC. So here's the plan. I'm going to revisit the PC VR mod for Doom 3 BFG. We're going to take a look at getting that set up together, and in the process I'll record a shit ton of gameplay. At the same time, I'll stop the PC playthrough here and there and replay the same sections on the Quest edition. I'll also show you how to get the Quest 2 standalone option set up if you want to go for that. So in this video, we're going to do 2 guides and just a brief little bit of gameplay so you get the idea, but I'll also make a longer video on my second channel. See, for the gameplay recording, I'll start one session on the PC with BFG edition, then do another on the Quest 2 with the original, and then I'll inverse the order. Quest 2 first, followed by PC again. This should result in 4 45-minute long sessions. Through all this, I'll try my best to describe the differences between the two just to make sure that any shortcomings caused by the Quest 2 capture are not mistaken for actual performance issues. Keep in mind, throughout this video, you're going to see gameplay on Doom 3 BFG off the PC intertwined with gameplay from Doom 3 Quest on standalone. A surefire way to tell the two apart from one another, besides the video capture differences, is to check the logo on the bottom left. I'll have it as Doom 3 BFG for the PC gameplay and Doom 3 Quest for the standalone footage. So, we're gonna go through the Doom 3 VR setup guides here, then I'll give you a quick little preview of the gameplay on both ports, and after that a longer running recap of my sessions on the second channel, Stereo 3D Plays. Got it? Sounds like a plan? No? Well, fuck you. This is my video, so we're gonna do that anyways. First, let's take a look at what's been going on with the PC. And in the process, I have to confess, I used to suck at presenting mods. I watched my old 2016 video of this game, and not once do I fucking mention what mod I'm using. In a nutshell, I amounted to these YouTubers that would show VR gameplay of a game that doesn't support VR without explaining how they got it working. I know I'm better than that now, but it's frustrating that I didn't abide by better standards back then, because now even watching my old video, I have no idea what goddamn mod I was using to run BFG in VR. I'm thinking it was an old version of RB Doom 3. Turns out we've gone a long way since, so knowing what mod I was actually running is kind of pointless. Today, if you want to run Doom 3 BFG in VR, all you'll need is the Doom 3 BFG fully possessed mod, and of course ownership of Doom 3 BFG itself, which you'll need to have installed on your PC before going for the mod. After that, it's so dumb simple. All you have to do is download one executable installer. I'll provide a link in the description, of course. Run it and tell it where your game is located. Now, as you see here, in my case, the default folder it's showing is wrong. But here's a trick if that's the case for you too. To find the game's actual root folder, in Steam, just right-click the title, go Manage, and then pick Browse Local Files. From there, you can copy the full path from the address bar and paste that in the fully possessed installer. Once it's done installing, start your VR runtimes, either SteamVR or Oculus, then run the Doom 3 BFG VR executable in the game's root folder, the same folder we opened in the previous step. This mod supports everything you could think of in VR, from controls to tracking and a plethora of options you'd expect from a first-party VR implementation, and more. This is a near-perfect mod. There's just a few extra things to fix along the way, so come along while we take a look at these. First, there's a big problem with this mod as it has a built-in voice command support that works horribly, and you'll want to disable it. When I first tried to play this, I found myself with the game constantly putting my gun away and reverting to fists. Sometimes it would do this 10 times in a single minute. Needless to say, this was absolutely unplayable. After looking around for a bit, I found out you can turn the voice commands feature off, which should prevent any unwanted inputs. I swear I don't understand why this feature exists, and I can't help but imagine it took quite some time to implement, but I activated it for fun and tried to rebind controls when it was on, and for fuck's sake, I can say any word and it will think I said fists. This explains why my gun kept being put away. If the feature hears an explosion, it thinks you said fists. If the feature hears you say shit, it will think you said fists. If the feature hears a bird chirping, it will fucking think you said fists. The only time I witnessed this feature working, all it was doing is spamming the fists command, both in the menus and in the game. Open the game menu by pressing your controller's menu button, then go to VR settings and then to controls. Make sure to disable voice commands, or at least set them to menu only. This will make the misrecognition problem go away. This leaves behind one really obvious problem that caught me by surprise so badly it scared the shit out of me the first time. With voice commands off, there's a text-to-speech that seems to report that it's waiting for input, and it started talking mid-gameplay, which got me straight up weirded out for a few seconds. Not necessarily a jump scare, more like wondering if actual demons had possessed the game, which would make sense with Doom 3. I haven't found a workaround for this one yet, but fortunately that issue doesn't render the game unplayable, so I don't mind it. Helps when you know it exists, since now you can expect some random TTS voice to start saying a bunch of shit mid-play. It did get really annoying once, but I think it's because I accidentally turned the commands back on and somehow ended up asking it to list all the control prompts.
Double barrel shotgun. Double barrel shotgun.
Shut
combat
the
shotgun,
fuck up!
Machine gun. Enforcer.
Bro!
MG88.
Bro!
MG88 enforcer.
Bro! Bro,
Chain
shut
gun.
up!
Mach 2 chain gun.
Bro, shut the fuck up. It's going through all the commands. I don't know why.
For some reason, it also seems to like responding when I tell the game to fuck off. Next and last thing I recommend checking before playing is the VR comfort options. They have this cool third-person movement comfort feature akin to VR Chat's holoport mechanic. It's called QuakeCon. But honestly, this game runs so damn well, I just don't need that. Same goes for snap turn and teleport, none of that is required in my case. Open VR settings and go to comfort options. Everything you need is there. Everything. Take the holoport type movement as a treat to the player. I've rarely seen this mechanic outside of VR chat, and I can't help but think it's not an easy feat, and frankly, for those who are cripplingly sensitive to motion sickness, it's probably the best, least disorientating comfort method out there. I myself just needed to switch to smooth turning and turn teleporting off. Another option I set is step smoothing. This one turned out to be really important. Without it, every single step of a staircase will cause you to suddenly pop upward at each step you walk over, something that will make even the most hardcore VR players sick as all hell faster than you can say hurl. Another thing worth noting is you have a body model in this game. As usual with games modded for VR, I really don't like it, and I think you'll hate it too. But fear not, there is an option to disable it in the menus. This is one of the first things I did when launching the game. You'll find that option in VR settings under the character options. You can enable full body, hands, weapons only. They got enough combinations to make sure everyone is happy. Next, there's a cool little mechanic to interact with panels and menus called Touch UI. It's on by default and it works pretty well. Just walk on over to any panel and literally point at it to interact with the buttons. The same applies to the menus and the PDAs, although you can also use your controller buttons to navigate those. In the VR settings menu under UI options, there's another version of this interaction mechanic called aim-based, where instead of pointing with your hand, you can sort of point at the panels like if you were using a laser. It's a really good alternative if you don't want to use the touch mode, but the problem is it makes the menus and PDAs act really janky with the pointer. I've used both methods and managed to work around the issues with aim-based, but I still recommend the default touch mode anyways, because it's just been so simple and problem-free to use. Now, while playing, beyond the text-to-speech getting chatty, I did run into a couple of other annoyances. At my second session, the game would often pause to black for a moment, then come back, bring up my PDA for a brief second, and finally put it down and resume. I think these were checkpoints and something broke during my session, but I can't say for sure. This did not happen in my first session. Another weird thing is by default, jump is press right stick. It's weird. It's just weird. It's not really a fault on the mod per se, since these buttons are remappable. That's about it. Once those options are set, you should be in for the long run with Doom 3 BFG in VR on the PC. It's smooth, it runs well, and it's a shit ton of fun. The menus and interactions port over well for VR, and it's simply one of these old games you can't ignore in the context of VR. So with those settings, I hope you can enjoy a long playthrough, ultimately the whole game, because after a few minutes, you will forget that this isn't originally a VR game. We've got our game set on the PC, but what about running directly on the Quest? Is it more complicated? Is it a pain in the ass? Well, besides having to use Sidequest to get this one going, the rest is pretty simple. Speaking of, for this video, since there's already 1 quadrillion tutorial videos for getting Sidequest and sideloading apps onto the Quest, I'm going to assume you already got caught up on that procedure. In fact, I'll include a link to one of my preferred tutorial videos for Sidequest in the description below. Make sure that when you download Sidequest from the link I'll also include in the description, that you go for the advanced installer. That's the one I use, and frankly I recommend that version since it's got so many capabilities. Do keep in mind that this process should work the same on all Quest headsets, the OG Quest, the Quest 2, the Pro, and the upcoming Quest 3. First, you want to install or sideload the Dr. Beef Doom 3 mod on your Quest. I'll use Sidequest to accomplish this here. I just search for Doom 3 on the Home tab, open up the Doom 3 Quest page, and hit the Sideload button while my Quest is connected via USB. Once installed, launch this app in your Quest. Just open your apps list, and from the filters on the top right, switch to the Unknown Sources category. You should see the Doom 3 Quest app in there. Click on it to launch it. It'll close right away, but don't worry, it just accomplished what we wanted. It'll have created a folder in which we'll be dropping the full game files. With that done, with your Quest hooked up to your PC via USB, make sure you've allowed the PC permission to browse files in your Quest. You should, in the root of the Quest's file system, see a Doom 3 Quest folder. Open it, then go to the base subfolder. If there is no base subfolder, create one. This is where we're going to put the game's pack files, or PAK. Now keep in mind, while the PC-based mods require Doom 3 BFG edition, this mod requires the original Doom 3 files instead. So don't go copying the packs from BFG, this has to be from vanilla Doom 3. To find the pack files, find Doom 3 in Steam, right-click on the title, go Manage, and then pick Browse Local Files. This will open Doom 3's root folder. Open the base folder in there, from which you can select all the pack files, and copy them in the Doom 3 Quest base folder. Once you've got all the pack files copied as shown here, you're good to go. Just reopen that Unknown Sources menu on the Quest, launch Doom 3 Quest, and you'll be at the Doom 3 title screen ready to enter some of the best VR horror you can find. Honestly, this is all going to seem very familiar. Either the same person did both Fully Possessed and Doom 3 Quest, or it so happens Dr. Beef did the Quest variant based on the Fully Possessed mod. Either way, the control scheme, option menus, and mechanics are almost all identical. This is a really smooth transition between the PC and standalone, and what really struck me as interesting is we've even got similar graphics options in this port, and it actually allows us to torture our little headset here. Things like super sampling, refresh rate, and MSAA anti-aliasing levels are all configurable, and you even have an optional frame counter in case you want to experiment. I actually used that myself for a part of my first session, just to see what kind of FPS hit the capture would cause. I was surprised. With the refresh rate at 60 Hz, which likely uses reprojection to display at 90 or 120, the damn game didn't drop a single frame once, even with a bit of super sampling and MSAA. You're free to experiment here, and if you're not recording, you can probably tick that super sampling up to 1.2 and MSAA to 4 without really killing the game. This version actually surprised me beyond just the performance and its rich set of options. I'm also really surprised at how I actually experienced no issues playing through with this port. If you recall, on the PC I had 3 little annoyances that each took turns getting in the way here and there. Well, on the Quest, it's been pure smooth sailing. I reckon this is because this mod is newer, so the issues present in Fully Possessed have since been ironed out. I don't know. It's really a near one-to-one port of the PC variant, bar the fact that the PC edition runs the BFG edition rather than the OG one. The options are so similar to the Fully Possessed mod on the PC that I'll just recommend you check the PC guide section of this video to see how they work, since the menus and mapping are almost all identical bar minor differences. On the Quest, the menus are in the style of OG Doom 3, and you have to click VR options to open them, not options. Then on the PC, jump is press right stick by default, while on the Quest it's B. Right stick down on the Quest will toggle your body model visibility, a strange keybind that I haven't really had any use for since I already disabled the body model in the menus. Other than that, we even have the same touch aim UI modes that we saw on the PC. On the Quest I stuck to touch mode exclusively and it's worked perfectly so far. Oh, and the Quest edition doesn't have that goddamn voice commands engine running, which for me was actually one headache less over Doom 3 BFG. There's only 2 major differences that give away the fact that this is a Quest port. First, the load time between each level is evidently as OG as Doom 3 itself. It's a lot longer than what you'll get on a PC, especially equipped with SSD and high-end RAM. This is obviously normal, and the wait time really isn't too bad. I would say the longest it kept me on hold was about 30 seconds. The other dead giveaway is simply the difference in resolution. Now don't get me wrong, it's not that obvious. In fact, while recording the gameplay for this video, I went from PC, then to Quest 2, and back to PC. And at the end, going back to the PC, I was kind of shocked at how still very similar the graphics looked, including textures and aliasing, despite the PC edition using more super sampling and the slightly improved BFG edition assets. You start noticing the lower resolution when looking at distant objects that have detail on them. Things like floor plating and display screens. I would say beyond 35 feet, the visible clarity is a lot stronger on PC. Enough that you'll notice if you're comparing both editions, but nowhere near enough to put you off from the Quest version. In the end, if someone didn't know any better, you could convince them the Quest 2 port is running off a PC with nerfed settings, and they would believe you all while wondering why you're not cranking up the settings a little more. Through my playtesting here, I very much had a lot of fun playing through both ports, and I was so impressed by the Quest variant that while considering a new Let's Play series of this game for my second channel, Stereo 3D Plays, I am seriously thinking of going with this port instead of the BFG edition. Yes, the BFG edition does produce a better looking video, only because capturing directly off a PC is easier and higher quality, but I enjoy the novelty of finally being able to get quite decent video off the standalone content, along with correctly synced audio, and I think it's worth showcasing this as finally, I feel like we have something that really takes full advantage of the portable VR in the best way possible. Who knows, I might throw in a few additional experiments over time for fun. You can find out for yourselves if you want. Just subscribe to my secondary channel, Stereo 3D Plays, and you'll know soon enough when the Doom 3 content starts rolling out. Initially, I was going to publish all the Doom 3 VR gameplay in this very video, both from the PC and the Quest, but after doing a couple of passes, I ended up with a good 90 minutes of footage, most of it that I'll want to publish, and so I decided to split all that out from this feature presentation and instead post a long-form gameplay for this video on the second channel in the form of a short 2-part B-roll series. Meanwhile, in this video, I will feature a few highlights from those sessions, just so you can get at least an idea of how my experience went overall, and also an idea of how fucking metal this game is. While watching these, take note you can tell which edition I'm playing in each clip by looking at the logo on the bottom left. It'll be the BFG one for the PC gameplay, and the Doom 3 Quest logo for the portable version.
That shake. I actually enabled a little bit of shake in the menu. You can actually completely disable the game's shake. I was like, hey, you know what? I can take a bit of it. There are a few options you really need in terms of comfort, like where it smooths out the stairs. That's super important. So this is the airlock. Okay, I'm outside. I keep forgetting if it's an elevator or a fucking airlock. So I'm pretty good out here. I don't know if it's the PC graphics or the VR that's doing the job, but it is looking pretty goddamn good in here. Fucking Christ, motherfucker. Why am I more jumpy today? I played exactly this shit yesterday and I was not reacting to all this. Let me get some health. There we go. It's just 1 point, but my OCD, man. Airlock. So I'm gonna take the time to do something this time around. Yo! It just looks good out here. It's not just the PC. What the fuck, man? This game is high degrees of scam. See, like this. This is a scam. Watch this. Think fast. So, something I can complain about? This scene with the Quest 2, when I fell down here, I couldn't quite make out this iconic, at least to me, this iconic sound. Let's see if I can hear that music now, that music that I like so much. How dare you don't have the fucking thing reloaded? Hey, you hear that? And then if I come... It's got like no bass to it. Wow. I love the exaggerated horror in this game. It's fucking cool. Like limbs everywhere, just blood everywhere. It's just fucking... Fuck! Jesus Christ. The ladders. The ladders in Doom 3 are angels. Absolute fucking angels. Go for help. Please. I will go for help. It's gonna be a lot easier with ladders that aren't demonically possessed. In this game, it's basically the inverse of Half-Life 2, where nothing is demonically possessed except the ladders. In this game, it's the opposite. Everything is demonically possessed except the ladders. Fucking button is it again? Fuck. I did not mean to fucking crouch. I did not mean to crouch. What the hell happened there? Okay, it's A to crouch. Nothing happened there. Absolutely nothing happened there, you see? See, we're good. We're good. Knew it. Fucking knew it. Never trust any little crevice or corner in this fucking game. Ever trust anything in this game. There's some loot in the middle of the room. You're fucked. You will die. That's... I did something really dangerous in the context of Doom 3. I have doors open while I'm fighting an enemy, thus inviting the possibility of more enemies.
All units, this is Sergeant Kelly. Fall back to Marine HQ and await further orders.
Oh! That one got me yesterday too. You fucking assholes. So I have the UI in a mode where when I get near a panel on the PC, instead of the hand coming up, I actually have a pointer that comes up. I wanted to experiment with that. It's a little more convenient in some cases, but it's really a pain in the ass with the PDA UI. I'm kind of getting the hang of it. It's gonna get better. I'm gonna try to continue using it, but if it's too bad, I'm just gonna switch back to the touch version. I'm supposed to get like some kind of... Oh, there we go! Cool! Ah, of course. Well, we had more effects in this one, but I couldn't see my reflection in the mirror. Nice. Whoa, fuck. What was that? What the fuck was that? What? Bro. Unreliable. Absolutely unreliable. You done? Oh. Good. I think you can go now. I noticed the quest, the music, I think it might be a thing of the original game actually. The music is not as full sounding as it is in on the PC. Oh, Christ. Do not do that. Come on. The fire looks a lot better on the PC. I gotta say, that was fucking awesome. That heat wave effect. Jesus Christ. Die already. Oh, wait a minute. That's the... Oh, shit. Nice. Nice. You know you're... Oh, yeah, I remember. I'm so nice. I let you finish what you were doing before I started shooting. Fuck! Ooh. Ooh. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh, shit. Speaking of growth, oh, cool. This is so cool. Holy shit. There's gonna be some spawnage here, right here. Let's make sure we're ready for it. What a beauty. Okay. I expected this. This looks a lot better than what I saw in the Quest 2. And this is where I can tell even the models, the candle props, everything has more detail to it. Oh, I thought that was going to be a disaster, but no, worked out pretty well. Whoa. Was it like extra possessed or something?
Now that you've seen what the gameplay recordings look like on each device, I want you to let me know in the comments. If I were to make a series of this game on the alternate channel, would you mind me using the Quest port, or do you think the image is indeed up to snuff for a series? Tell me what you think. I'm set on Quest 2 for now, but your opinion will help me make a final decision. I hope you've enjoyed one of my most unexpected videos ever. Honestly, I keep notes of what I want to do in future videos, and there is nothing on Doom 3. This came out of absolutely nowhere, when I tried Dr. Beef's Doom 3 Quest port, at which point I felt like it was absolutely necessary to make a video about these mods. Doom 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, and seeing it finally holding its ground like this in VR is great. It's been a long time coming, and being able to have it be the game you take along with you on your portable device makes it all that more satisfying. The game itself is unlike its modern counterparts. I feel like the new Doom focuses way too much on the action and almost never on the actual horror, whereas Doom 3 was the complete inverse of this. It's definitely horror first, and still packed with a good enough amount of action that you're definitely not going to have a single dull moment. I've heard complaints of how this game practically abuses horror tropes, but in my opinion, while I admit it does this openly, it does it so damn well that instead of noticing the tropes or getting annoyed with them, you end up being too busy shitting your pants after constantly reacting to them. I really feel at home in this game, and having it in VR just pumps those horror aspects on steroids, making it one of the most simply satisfying VR games despite its age. I hope you all get a good look at this. Here you've got a perfect, easy-to-use VR port on two completely different platforms that should provide you with well over 20 hours of content to enjoy. It's truly a treat to the community, and I want to thank the teams that worked on each respective mod, including Dr. Beef, who got the Dark Lord's work done by making sure we could make our Quest 2 be possessed by demons, and Cause, who worked on the BFG Edition's Fully Possessed mod. Thanks to you, we can have demons in all our systems, in VR, readily accessible at any point in time. You've been watching Stereo 3D Productions and this very impromptu yet very important Doom 3 VR showcase and guide, and I thank you for watching through all the way to the end. You're a trooper, this is truly appreciated, and for that I shall see you in hell! Oh yeah, that was fucking cringe, sorry.